I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice.
Do your own research.
Consult a professional investment advisor before making any investment decisions.
This show is for entertainment only. Faites vos propres recherches.
Here we are
in another episode
of the Simple Success Podcast.
And
this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective.
Coaching happiness. And last week we spoke about, are you asking me a question or is that a statement? Of course it's a question, DT. What was the topic last week? There you go, much better. Last week we talked of saving pro tips for newlyweds. Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a good one. And I bet today we have an even better topic, don't we, John? Yes, we do. Today, we shall be looking at good debt versus bad debt. Financial health, as it were, with different types of debt. Ooh, personal loans? Haven't we spoken of this topic before? I believe in the Shylock trap. There's always a new perspective to our topics. We only spoke of one aspect of bad debt in the Shylock trap. Ah, so there's more to learn. School me then. Okay, but I'm not promising you another college degree. For starters, as the topic suggests, there are bad and good debts for any financial situation. Different kinds of debt? No way. I thought debt was a bad thing. What are those good debts? I think we should first establish what debt is before we bite into the topic. Okay, fair enough. What is debt? Debt, DT, is something, typically money, that is owed or due. It is the state of owing money. I get it. Can you lend me some money? If you take out a loan, you'll usually agree to pay back the loan at some point in time, often with interest or a fee added. Are you ready to pay me with interest? Huh? Will that be good debt? Well, that depends on your reason for borrowing. Any loan you take out has a cost associated with it, but there are some loans that are better than others. How can I tell the good from the bad debt? You can usually tell which debts are good by looking at how they affect your finances and your life, rather than just focusing on the interest rate or your credit card balances. Hold up. Let me see whether I have understood your point. So, debt is good when it has a positive impact on your finances and your life? Yeah, keep talking like that, and you might make a good financial advisor. Good. I want to borrow money for a full lifestyle upgrade. What do you mean by a full lifestyle upgrade? You know, get a new car, move to a bigger house, buy new clothes, make that consumer debt level just soar, man. Ooh, how you package your brand determines how people treat you. That may be true to some point, DT. However, will the lifestyle upgrade you're planning put money in your pockets? Do you have a repayment plan for that kind of debt? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, we aim to fake it till we make it. I wouldn't advise necessarily doing it that way. It can bury you in debt, trying to create an unreal impression. It is different from positive self-talk. Follow the money instead. Wow, what do you mean? It's when you feel insecure because you don't think you're good enough. Focusing on the external image without building internal confidence will not help you much, but that is a whole nother podcast topic. Okay. I remember we talked of something like that in the subconscious mind. Episode 73, I think it was. 73, yeah. Yes, GT, we should all go back and listen to that one. So, what are the warning signs of bad debt? Besides making only minimum payments, we're going to look at examples of bad debt shortly. But first, I have a very strong feeling about...
Break number 1.
Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us. Please head over to the support link in our written show notes. That's the words on your podcast player. There, you can choose from a $9.99 per month doing level of support, a $4.99 knowing level, or a basic intro level of just 99 cents per month. Great place to start. Whichever you choose, Thank you so much for helping us do this for you. And to leave us a voice message, which just might see the light of day in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes. You'll go to a site where you can leave a video, audio, or text-only message depending on how you feel at the moment. You can also send us an audio file attached to an email if you use just more than your phone for stuff. I won't repeat those links because weird. And anyway, show notes. It's all in there, and it's all easy. Before the break, you promised to give me examples of bad debt. Absolutely, DT. I have a few. Bad debts are expensive debts that drag down your finances. For example, debt with a high or variable interest rate, especially when used for non-essential items or items that lose value. Lose value? Like what? A new car? But a new car is a necessity. Surely a car loan is good debt. Roll with me on this, DT. A car loan can qualify as good debt, but it doesn't usually. If you need the car to go to work, or if your car is your business, maybe there's a case. Or if you operate a cab business, for example, you need a car and the loan is making you money. What makes it a bad loan? Anytime the thing doesn't pay for itself. If a car has a high interest rate and you cannot afford to maintain the expensive car, it becomes unsustainable. And it will eventually mess up your finances. What should I do to fix such a situation? If refinancing or trading in an expensive car helps you control your expenses, then refinancing or trading in might be worth considering. Are there other examples of bad loans? Yes, there are. Another one is high-interest credit card debt. Credit cards are easy to obtain, but you should be careful not to max out your credit card spending without a repayment plan. Why not go shopping when you can? Because you have to be careful with spending money that you don't have. Credit cards are not free money. What is the interest rate threshold for a bad credit card debt? The interest rate should never be above 20%. Anything above 20% should raise an alarm. You mentioned common forms of easy loans, and I thought of payday loans. Are they good or bad debt? Payday loans or emergency loans, they can turn toxic very quickly. Why is that so? Because they're easy to get. But the catch is that they are a short-term form of debt with exorbitant interest rates. Repaying such an amount with a typical monthly income is not easy. Not exactly a business loan. Do you have someone who can give us some intelligent advice on bad versus good debts so we're not just bantering about it? I have just the right person. His name's Terry Tucker, and he happens to be the author of Sustainable Excellence. Cool. Let's hear what advice he has for us.
Hello, Terry. Glad to have you here with us today.
Hi, I'm Terry Tucker, author of Sustainable Excellence, 10 Principles to Leading Your Uncommon and Extraordinary Life, and also the founder of Motivational Check. And if you understand your values, it's much easier to connect goals to those values and then make those goals a reality, as opposed to people saying, oh, I have a goal.
And a lot of that, in my experience, comes from you, in this case, paying attention to the listener's goals. Because one person's goals are going to be completely different from another person's goals.
They are.
And so as a financial advisor, when I was an active licensed broker, I would often let people know if they asked me a particular question, like, should I pay off my mortgage, for example? I would let them know that there are two possible answers. There's a mathematical answer, and then there's a what makes you feel good answer. And they might be the same thing, but they might not be, and that's okay. What message would you like everyone that you come across to have?
I like to tell a story, but it's a pretty long story, so I'll try to condense it. It has to do with Wyatt Earp and John Doc Holliday, who were two living, breathing human beings who walked on the face of the earth. There have been numerous movies made about them. These two men from entirely different backgrounds come together and form this very close friendship. And at the end of the movie Tombstone, Doc Holliday is dying at a sanitarium in Glenwood Springs. And Wyatt, at this point in his life, is destitute. He has no money. He has no job. He has no prospects for a job. So every day he comes to play cards with Doc, and the two men pass the time that way. Their two men are talking about what they want out of life. And Doc says, I was in love with my cousin when I was young, but she joined a convent over the affair. And he looks at Wyatt and he says, what about you, Wyatt? What do you want? And Wyatt says, I just want to lead a normal life. And Doc looks at him and says, there's no normal, there's just life. And get on with living yours. We know people that are out there that just kind of sit back and say, well, when this happens, I'll have a normal life. Or when that happens, I'll have a successful life. Or when this occurs, I'll have a significant life. I guess what I'd like to leave your audience with is this. Don't wait. Don't wait for life to come to you. Get out there, find the reason you were put on the face of this earth, use your unique gifts and talents, and live that reason. Because if you do, at the end of your life, I'm going to promise you two things. Number one, you're going to be a whole lot happier. And number two, you're going to have a whole lot more peace in your heart.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think it's important. And you talk about goals. Goals are good, but so many people fail in goals or they fail in New Year's resolutions because they don't understand what their values are. But if you don't know what your values are, and again, I think it kind of goes back to your comment about paying off your mortgage. Is that something you want to do? Do you need money to pay for your kids' college education? Do you want to leave a legacy of money for your family? Whatever that is, if you know what your values are, it's much easier to answer that question.
For those people who want to know more about you, is there a website that they should go to in addition to the book that's out there?
Yeah, I have a website called motivationalcheck.com. I put up a thought for the day every day, and a lot of times there's a question that comes with that about maybe how you can incorporate that into your life. I also have recommendations for videos and books to read and things like that. And you can also leave me a message. So motivationalcheck.com will get you to me.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Terry. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on, John.
Wow, John, that was great to listen to Terry. He has some really excellent insights of it. I have another question. What's my goal when taking a payday loan? It's a heavy question to ponder, I know. Yeah, you can easily find yourself in a cycle of debt, borrowing from one lender to repay another debt. This quote is attributed to the comedian and writer Will Rogers. Too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. Ouch! That quote leaves a terrible taste in my mouth. We've talked so much about bad debt. Why don't we flip to good debt? Good call, DT. We're going to do that the very next thing.
But first, break number 2.
We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. So as soon as you're done with that, tell us your story. We have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a message. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. The reason for subscribing? I thought you'd never ask. When you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. It just happens in your player without you having to go search again. How cool is that? This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, whatever app and from whatever place you like. And don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es bueno, Sybil. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it, and you win too. Can I simple that? Por supuesto. Of course. Just simple it.
Please make sure your seatbelts are fastened and your tray tables are in their upright position.
And make sure simple is a verb like Google is a verb. You are about to tell me something on good debt. Sure, DT. When there are bad things, there are also good things. The same holds true for debt. Okay, let me try to simplify it. Please dispel this depressive atmosphere of bad debt vibe. If it will make you feel better, I will. Not all debt is bad, and some is necessary while you're building wealth over time. Great! And while you're at it, please connect this good versus bad debt thing to investing. Sure, DT. Hey, did you know you can use good debt to invest and make a profit? I did not, but I'm distracted right now, and I would like you to tell me later. What's eating you? Please tell me student loans are good debt. Student loans are an investment in your future, and often come with low interest rates. Not always. You have to do your due diligence like anything else. They are usually not considered good debt, but they can be if you're creative.
How can I predict what I will earn even before getting the job?
You can't completely, but you can plan and play the odds. Remember when we talked about financial goals?
Yes, I do. In episode 54, everyone needs financial goals.
Plan what you want to earn, then work towards it. But let's stick to good debt for now.
What other debt qualifies as good debt?
Anything that produces money in return for the investment of money.
Mortgages? Are they good or bad debt?
We've spoken of mortgages before, and in some cases, they qualify as good debt. This is perhaps one of the biggest financial decisions most people make. Might be a huge financial obligation that leads to financial stability in the future. One of the many reasons I talk about patience.
Yes, we spoke of mortgages in episode 56. If you pay your mortgage on time, you'll not be homeless and you'll be in a better position than someone living in a rental house.
Yes, and of course, the house under a mortgage is yours, and the monthly payments reduce the debt burden.
Finally, there's justification for why I should get a loan.
Not so fast, TT. You need to make sound financial decisions based on knowledge.
Then educate me financially.
Okay, you can get a mortgage and rent out your property as you repay your debt. This way, you may use part of your rental income to finance your mortgage. Whatever your decision on a mortgage, you should ensure you have a low debt-to-income ratio, or DTI.
DTI?
It's DT, like your name, with an extra I added on the end. That's an interesting take. Now, this is the amount of income you have relative to your debts. Ideally, lenders prefer a debt-to-income ratio lower than 36%, with no more than 28% of that going towards servicing a mortgage or rent payment.
Okay, now I get it. What about taking a loan to invest in the stock market?
That can be good debt so long as you make money on the deal and have a repayment plan. But don't forget, trading in stocks requires some level of risk, and you have to account for that.
Where's your faith? I thought we were all about positive thinking here. You know, think and grow rich.
Yes, I like that, E.T. Your risk tolerance is increasing. My faith is in my thinking.
How so?
We always think positively, but plan accordingly. You can either gain or lose, so you need to have a backup plan on how you'll repay any loans.
Striking a balance between faith and reality.
Yes, and also taking action.
Understanding that is a real life milestone, I think.
Yeah, like action without fear. Acción sin miedo.
That is something of which I am no longer afraid, my liege, thanks to PPR and consistency.
Okay, so you'll do something then?
I will.
And you'll tell us about it?
After I've practiced a bit.
Good, because practice makes better.
Persistence.
That makes better too.
Consistency.
Creates habits.
And we are building positive financial habits.
Which is how you've all gotten good.
Gracias por escuchar.
Salut. À la prochaine.
This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes
Techno King, John C. Brandy, Alter Ego, Doubting Thomas, Fact Checker, a small brown beef animal, very very small, seriously, tiny, facts really are not that big, French consultant, OpenAI, social manager, Virginia Mitchell, media expert, Favor Abbasi Ike, psychologist, William James, rabbit hole advisor, Dr. Mark Perrott, sound designer, Adobe's Creative Suite, Spanish consultant, Cameron J.K. Brandy, videographer, Eto Monkoshki, audio props, Les Paul, inspiration, many podcasts and other sources, and of course Napoleon Hill.
We also have websites, and you can subscribe to both podcasts. You can even send us a video, audio, or text message. But of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to get the links and stuff. I really doubt that you would pay me to read the URLs where you can subscribe, support, or leave one of those video or audio messages. And anyway, all the clickable links are in the show notes.
And before we forget, the artificial intelligence or AI voices you hear in our work come from Google, Amazon Polly, and OpenAI like we say in the show notes. We just love what AI can do when lovingly crafted.
Finally, you can find us on Podmatch.com, Matchmaker.fm, Podbooker and Podcast Guests, where we consider guests and consider guesting on other people's shows.
And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams, as well as from AI MuseNet. The sound effect credits go to Jackson Academy Ashmore, Kahuna G, Dr. Jekyll, Joe Payne, Everything Sounds, MK Play More Stories, ERH, Sand Emotions, Big Pickle 51, and Just Kidding. Yes, that's his or her name. All on freesound.org. Also, languages are the bomb.
Paul.